So education for sustainable development forces systems thinking, which by its nature allows the voice of a number of stakeholders to be heard. No longer is an issue viewed in a linear form, where short fixes to problems may lead to further unforeseen problems. Instead, with an awareness of the whole system, considered from a number of different viewpoints, the final solution suggested has a much greater chance of succeeding. But it's not easy. Sometimes the problems, the issues, they are as complex as the answers. And so we need a tool that perhaps will help us to introduce systems thinking. If you look at the world, just think on this world, what do you see?
Sea.
I hear someone sees the sea. You see clouds, someone might see the land. Whatever we're interested in is the thing that we focus in on first. But hey, if we look beyond the original world and we look out to the galaxy, nature doesn't keep things in boxes. Nature makes things connected. Look at the relationships and the interconnections of those stars in the galaxy. So why, as people, do we try to create systems? Why do we try to create thinking which doesn't appreciate systems? The brain cell. It's not operating on its own. It's that network that connects out to everything else. Look at the world again, but this time look at it from the lens, from the viewpoint of economy. Now what do you see when you look at the Earth? Right, perhaps the land is the most important, and now we're going to zoom in again, and now we're looking down and we see economic centres. We see sinks, we see the centres, and we see flows, the roads, the networks. Viewed from space, again, there are networks. Our world, our human world, isn't in isolation. It's connected and it's joined. The economic centres are in the big picture. And our society, the organisations that make up our society. Society cannot operate in little pieces. Society demands us interacting with our built and the natural environment. And our well-being, that extra dimension. We often talk just about the social, the economic and the natural aspects. But the model that I will suggest later also includes well-being, that personal response, those feelings of security, well-being, health, happiness, those things. How do we bring all of these perspectives together in a tool that is manageable and simple enough that young people coming into our park can understand it and can operate it, as well as park managers using it for strategic planning? What do you know about a compass? What does it do? Right, points to north, and we use it to do what? Sorry? Orientate ourselves, right, to show us the direction to orientate ourselves. And so I will introduce the compass as a tool for infusing education for sustainable development into our workplaces and into our education systems and national parks. The compass is a thinking tool, or it's a lens that enables sustainability to become a habit of mind. It was devised by Alan Atkinson, an American who didn't devise it for educational purposes, but he devised it originally to make Seattle town planning more sustainable. And it replaces the north, east, south and west with 4 components for sustainability: nature, economy, society and well-being. There they are: nature, economy, society, and well-being. If I asked you to list issues under each of those topics, your list may look something like this. The actual content is not so important, so I'm going to move on quite quickly to show you what happens when we view those things through the compass lenses, and we start not to keep it in little boxes, but after we have identified the components of each compass point, we start to put them together back into systems. We start to see that jobs and wages has a connection with education. We start to see that investment and corruption might be connected. We start to see how urban and rural development connect into education. So the compass lens enables us to seek different perspectives and then to look for the interconnections between those perspectives. Looking to put individual issues into the systems that they are part of. It helps to reorientate our thinking towards a sustainable habit of mind. And it can be used at strategic level as planners and managers, but it can also be used by students of all ages to explore an issue. As an example, if I was doing a community investigation, I may divide the children into their 4 lenses, or they would choose according to their interests. And then they would brainstorm some things they would observe, some questions they'd like to ask when they meet people in the community to interview under the nature, or the economy, or the society, or the well-being lens. And then each group goes off and spends its hour or 90 minutes or however long you have in the community. When the students come back, they then share from the perspective of their compass point. The economy people talk about the jobs, the impact of tourism. They talk about the new building that's happening in the community. The nature people might talk about impact of flooding, or the problem of drought, or the trouble with litter, or the problem the dogs are making. So we look at all those issues. And then you can see the coloured vinyl there on the floor. Then after we've presented, we look and see the connections, a little bit like we drew the lines just now between the roots and the branches. We start with the information that has come from the students' first-hand observations. We then link together, and the colours that represent the different parts of the compass, so that the students are creating the system. And then we would get them to, okay, if you were in charge, if you were able to make a change in this system, what would you do? Where would your change have the greatest impact? And they can see that where there are the most nodes, the person holding the most pieces of coloured vinyl, if we put a change somewhere there, it's going to diffuse through the system the fastest. And so the impact of a change will have the greatest impact to making that system more sustainable. I've used it in national parks, where we've looked over 2 or 3 days in the national park, running alongside the other activities that we have been doing. Students have been assigned to one of the compass points. And while they're hiking, while they're looking for bugs in the stream, all of the usual forest type activities, they're also thinking about what's happening from that compass point perspective. And then in the final day, we come together with the observations. Perhaps they've talked to a ranger, perhaps they've talked to a former poacher, the sorts of things that in the forests I'm working in, we're able to do. And then we're able to see, okay, is this forest a sustainable system? How could we make a change that would make it more sustainable? And the children haven't just followed the ranger around listening to the facts about the fig tree or the life cycle of the strangler fig or whatever it might be, but as well as taking on board that information, they're actually looking at the forest as a system, and they're thinking about it from all 4 dimensions and how they could make a change that could lead to greater sustainability. We will come back later on this afternoon to perhaps use this compass tool as a tool for our thinking later on in our conference today. So the compass of sustainability uses those 4 directions to reflect 4 fully interdependent dimensions of life. We can't have sustainability without all of them being in play. And putting them together puts systems at the centre of our thinking. As a manager, you can think of your strategic plan from those 4 viewpoints, so that you can be sure that you're not just on the nature side. I was talking to one of our colleagues, and she was talking about being the healthy, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, the forest and healthy? Healthy parks, healthy people. For me, that makes the well-being aspect of the compass ring a lot. You know, our healthy people, they need quiet spaces, they need calm spaces. Perhaps they need a bench overlooking the lake. Perhaps they need access to different toilet facilities, those sorts of things, so they can access through wheelchairs or something like that. So if I was reviewing that project strategically using the compass, those are the issues that would come out of the well-being that is often forgotten when we're dealing with natural systems and we're on a run with the nature. I know we have some teachers here as well, so I'd like to look at some of the typical games that have been played for many years just as EE games, and consider how we might, just through our facilitation, bring in this concept of systems, the chance to envision, the chance to think critically, to show change over time, and to show stakeholders. So if I could have, I don't know, perhaps 8 or 10 volunteers again, please. This game? Is it better to be on the stage or
you tell us.
Stage, I think, so that they can see. In Korean national parks, can you give me a predator-prey relationship? If not, you'll have to have a Thailand one. Okay, so we'll be deer and wild dogs. Okay. There are a lot of those in the Khao Yai National Park, in the centre of Thailand, that I'm familiar working in. So if I could have 2 of you here, please, to be the wild dogs, and if all of you could stand in a line that way, and you're all going to be the deer. Now, we would discuss the regular EE type components of an activity. What are the habitat needs of this group of animals? And I hope... Right, we need some shelter. So we come up with a symbol for shelter. For ease, I'm going to give you one. It's going to be this. Okay? What is another habitat need for your animals there? Food, okay? And I like your action. Food. And one more that we need. Water, okay? A quick action for water? Okay, that's going to be water. Okay. So, please turn around. Turn that way. Turn that way. And everyone choose one of those signs. Choose the habitat, choose the water, choose the food, whatever you like. And when I say, oh dear, I need you to turn around and make your sign. Make your sign. Oh dear. Turn around making a sign. Okay. You need water, so you have to go and find a water person. You need food, go and find a food person and bring them back. Oh dear, no food. What's going to happen to her? She's going to die, but nature's a wonderful circle. You're not wasted in the forest. You'll decompose and your nutrients will give life to more of the habitat needs. So you go and join the habitat needs on that side, and you bring your food over this side, your water over this side. Just one of you. Just one person of water. Okay, that's it. So there's 2 of you there again. Okay, and we do it again. Turn around. Turn around, please. Make your sign. Oh dear, turn around. Okay, go and collect whatever you need. If you can see someone making your sign, if you were 10, you'd be running backwards and forwards, but walking's okay for this. Okay, bring them back to you, bring them back. You have your that environment, the habitat is supporting your needs, and you're able to all find shelter. Okay, turn around, make your sign. Oh dear, off you go again. Find somebody, turn around, find someone making your sign. Oh, we've got an extinct population. Are you all dead? Okay, go and find the water. Go and find the water. Everybody else, if your needs aren't met, you die. Please bring back the water. Okay. Oh, too bad, not enough food. Perhaps there was flood, or perhaps there was drought, and the plants didn't grow well. So we explore these issues. The water come back, and you people, I'm afraid, you die and decompose. Okay, off you go again. I've got 2 more rounds. Off you go, make your sign. Whoops, wrong side. Make your sign. Okay, turn around. Oh dear. If you can see someone making your sign, come and get them. And take them back to you. And all looks good. Our population has risen. We've now back to 4 deer. But do any of you have a piece of paper? Oh, the system's not going. Okay, turn around, dear. Turn around. Make your sign. Oh dear. Go and find someone that's making your sign. Ah, now they're really getting into it. Competition's taking up. If you haven't found anyone that matches your sign, then I'm afraid you decompose and become part of the environment. And does anyone here have a little piece of paper in their hand? The little piece of paper represented some form of pollution that came into the system. What were you? Were you water, food, or... Right, so perhaps the factory down the road has flushed a few chemicals into the river. So, with this, not only are you going to not survive, but also the person that drunk you is not going to survive. So sorry, due to the pollution, you two are going to go back.
Sorry.
Okay. And you can see, thank you volunteers, thank you. You can see how that will begin to play out. And if we have a look now at the board. So, very quickly, we're looking at carrying capacity. We're looking at how outside influences are going to impact the system. It didn't show too well, but, oh, never mind. If we were then able to draw the graph, we can see that we've got a natural flux happening. We never were able to reach the maximum number of deer. Often when you do it, we'll have a greater peak than that will show the carrying capacity of our land. But you can see how when we introduced pollution, there was a delayed response to that. We were able to carry on feeding, carry on drinking, but finally there was the death of the animal as a result of that. So this game very quickly introduces us to the idea of change over time. It helps us to consider the things that are happening in the park. Perhaps we have a drought, or we have a flood, we have pollution, we have poachers, we have more tourists coming and their cars cause more disruption. So all of the issues that are happening within the national park, as facilitators we can bring into the different rounds of the game. And the students start to see that the animals, it's not just about the grass and the deer or the number of dogs. They're starting to see those connections with the real things that are happening in the system. And of course we make it locally relevant, playing with the animals in our own system. and with the issues that are happening in our own system. So that one, oh dear. Many people are familiar with forest webbing, where you would have different components of the ecosystem, and then the students would run strings across to see their interconnections. Oh, I'm the caterpillar and I need the tree because it gives me leaves. Or I'm the hornbill, I live on the tree and I help distribute the seeds. I need a fruit tree. Or I'm the snake, I eat something like that. So we see the interconnections. But we need to take it one stage further. We need to say, okay, these are the systems within this ecosystem, and then bringing in some values. How does it affect us? And perhaps lay the smallest in the group across the... Oh, you haven't got my picture, sorry. Okay, that's better. Lay the smallest child across the strings, and then have everyone pull so that the child is supported by this forest web. This forest web giving oxygen, providing medicine, giving fruit.